Imagine you bought a brand new bike, and imagine a couple of months later that bike is stolen, but not from anywhere. It's stolen from a secure basement car park with a barrier across the gate and a security guard in the gatehouse. And then a week later, something so crazy happens, it can only be described as fate. When I went to Malaysia in 2011, the first thing I did was buy a brand new motorbike. And the bike I wanted was a Kawasaki ER6F. It's a 650cc, and I bought it brand new. It cost me 40,000 Malaysian ringgit. I had the same bike in the UK, but it was an older bike. I think it was about 5 years old, silver colour, exactly the same, ER6F. And I loved it, so I thought, when I go to Malaysia, I'm going to buy one. So I did that. And I used to take it to the office every day. Even when it was raining, I would take the bike. And you know, I even went down to Sepang, the racing circuit. I was there in October 2011 when Marco Simoncelli died in that fatal accident. Tragic. They actually red flagged the race, and that was it. And my wife and I, before we were married, we actually went a few places on it. We went to Port Dickson one weekend. We stayed in the Thistle Hotel, and I remember going down. The roads in Malaysia are really good for motorbikes. They have the infrastructure in place. You know, you can go up to Genting or Cameron Highlands or Penang, and it's expressway more or less all the way. This time we went to Port Dickson, and I hadn't had the bike for very long, and because there's a lot of traffic on the main expressway, we went down and turned off at Seremban. Now, just before you get to Seremban, it's south of KL. Before you get to Seremban, the traffic was horrendous, really bad. So we ended up, when we came off at Seremban onto the road that goes to Port Dickson, it was empty, brilliant. And it was like 2 lanes or 3 lanes, I can't remember. I think 2 lanes. And I opened up the bike for the first time. It was the first time my wife had been on the back going at high speed. And I took it up to about 165 kilometres per hour, which was quite fast. When we stopped in Port Dickson, I said to her, were you scared there when we went up to 165? She says, no, honey. I said, I was. But yeah, it was a great bike. I had that for quite a few years. I can't remember why exactly, but I decided to sell it. So I did. I sold that bike, and I think I rented a car for about a year. It just felt like I think that's what it was. I think it was when our son was born in 2014. I realised that a bike was no good for the 3 of us. So I rented a car for about a year and a half. And then I got bored with the car and decided to buy another bike. So I bought a Benelli TNT 600cc. This thing's got 4 cylinders and it's a very, very heavy bike. My friend, a Malaysian friend of mine, Ant, he had a car, so he took me through to Pahang, which is on the east coast of Malaysia. It's about 2 hours, 2.5 hours from KL. So I had seen this bike advertised and I wanted to have a look at it. It was second hand, and I liked it. I took cash with me. It cost 17,000 Malaysian ringgit second hand. So I bought it there and then, and we went to the post office to do all the registration stuff. And then I rode it back from Pahang all the way back to KL, passing Genting Highlands. It was really fantastic. But when I got on the bike, just after buying it, I thought I'm going to open this up just to see, what it's like. And it was pretty quiet on the road. So I opened it up and I got up to about 185, and I thought, right, that's enough. That's kilometres per hour, by the way, but 185 on a bike is still pretty fast. So I had that bike for a while. And then I think I got bored with that, and then I decided to sell it. So I did, and I was looking for something a bit smaller for the city, because I was finding that I wasn't using it to go what we call outstation, out from KL. So I had my eye on a KTM, the KTM Duke 200cc. They have another one, a 390cc, which is a wee bit bigger. But I opted for the KTM Duke 200. So I bought it brand new, and it cost me 14,500 Malaysian ringgit. Loved it. Nice wee bike for getting through the traffic. Really adored it. And my wife liked it as well. It was a lot smaller, but nice bike. And then one day, I came down to the car park, the basement car park, in the morning to go to work. Bike's gone, missing. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, it was just here yesterday. How can it be gone? So I went up to the security guard, and I said to him, my motorbike's been stolen. It was here. It was it had padlock, a chain padlock on it. I said, where is it? And he looked completely disinterested. So I thought, well, I'm not having this. I called the police, and eventually they came out, and they asked the guy if he had any CCTV, which he did. So the policeman's gone through the camera footage with the security guard, and lo and behold, you can see a guy coming in. He walked straight in, security guard did nothing. 5 minutes later, you see him going out on my bike. And what he did was, he went to the side of the barrier so the guard didn't have to open it, and drove off. I couldn't believe it. So I said to the policeman, well, what do I do now? He says, well, you'll need to go and make a police report. So he told me where to go. So that's what I did. I went to the police station. Hang on, I'm getting attacked by flies here. So I'm in the police station making this police report. I had to go through everything all over again with the policeman and explain. So eventually I got this report, and then I realised I would have to contact my insurance company. Thankfully I had it insured. So they told me to come in and bring the police report with me. So I did that, and I had to fill in more forms. I think there was about 3 or 4 pages. So anyway, I did that, and time went past. I was still waiting on the insurance company paying out. They were dragging their heels. I can't remember what reason. They kept fobbing me off with different reasons, but anyway, it was about a week later, or maybe 2 weeks, and I was going to the office, and I was walking. I must have got a taxi. I can't remember. Anyway, the taxi dropped me off, and I was walking round the corner to go to the office. And as I'm walking up to the office, I could see there was another KTM parked outside the office. Now, right next door there was a restaurant, and this was sort of between the restaurant and the office, just at the side of the. It was actually on the path. That's what made me notice it. So I thought, well, that's a coincidence. Imagine that, Haven't seen that there before. As I'm walking up to the bike, I'm just starting to walk past it, I looked to the side and I recognised the scratch that I had on the petrol tank. And I thought, that's my bike. So I had a look at the wing mirrors were different. Obviously the number plate had been changed. So I thought, well, what do I do now? So I called the police, and it was about an hour later, 2 cops turned up on small bikes, motorbikes, completely disinterested. And I tried to explain the situation, that my bike had been stolen and I think this is my bike. And now this was in the morning, that restaurant wasn't open, but I'm assuming the chef was in there probably preparing everything for the day. So I explained the situation to them, and they rubbed some of the dust off on the rear number plate, and you could see where mine had been replaced with this new number plate. And they asked me if I had the chassis number, which I did. It was on the police report, so I had a copy of that, and it matched. So I said to them, well, now what? He says, well, I tried the key and it didn't fit. They'd obviously changed the lock. He said, well, what was it he did? He brought out some kind of key that actually fitted into the bike. I couldn't believe it. I said, well, what they've done is they've put on a special lock where you can use any key. So he said, take your bike and go to a garage and get the lock changed and anything else that you need to do to the bike. I says, well, are you not going to go inside the restaurant and arrest this guy, or at least find out who allegedly, or who is claiming to own the bike outside? No, he says, we'll leave that to the sergeant. And they drove off. Unbelievable. So luckily the insurance company hadn't paid out, and I took it to the garage. It cost me, how much was it now? It was about just over 1,000 Malaysian ringgit to get everything changed and checked and blah blah blah. So that's my wee story from Malaysia about the bike being stolen and me finding it a couple of weeks later. Incredible. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers now.